Welcome to FOXSOUL's Black Report. This is the place where we bring you Black America's headlines, news, views, and opinions. I'm Romeo.
Hey there, I'm Brooke.
I'm Demi.
And I'm Melissa. On today's report, we discuss President Joe Biden's address with Dr. Wes Bellamy, co-founder of Our Black Party. Wisdom Cole, National Director of Youth and College for the NAACP, is here as well, and Angela Nirvana, an independent and ADOS Los Angeles.
4 former police officers may face federal charges in George Floyd's death. We have a COVID-19 vaccine update, and wait until you see what's possibly maybe soon happening in Stone Mountain, Georgia.
The FDA vows not to target black smokers in menthol cigarette ban. More than a dozen Evanston families are receiving reparations already. And we have news on FOXSOUL's COVID-19 town hall happening tonight.
That is right, Demi. We have all of that and so much more. So if you're ready, it's our voice and our truth. Let's get it.
To me, this reeks of conflict of interest.
Do we know if he actually waved a gun? We only hear one side of the story.
This just really did make me feel good that the justice system did what they needed to.
We're going to keep following this story, and we will have the latest for you. George Floyd's brother, Eric Garner's mother, and Botham Jean's sister all met with both Democratic and Republican lawmakers at the Capitol this afternoon. The Hill reports the group was hoping to apply pressure to Congress. They were really urging lawmakers to take action on police reform. I'm talking about Philonise Floyd, Gwen Carr, and Alyssa Finley. They have all been directly affected by some of the most well-known police brutality cases. All 3 of these people lost family members who were killed by police officers. They met with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, later meeting with Senators Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham, also meeting with Senator Cory Booker in a separate meeting. You know, I want to talk about Botham Jean's sister, because, you know, this has to be a tough week for her.
Yeah.
Amber Geiger, who, and you know, everyone, we've obviously talked about this, but Amber Geiger wants her murder conviction thrown out. Lawyer in court with the appeal saying, you know, throw this out. She wants out of jail. And the prosecutor saying she meant to kill him. She is where she belongs. And then overall, there's, you know, she's serving a 10-year prison sentence. And, you know, just it's a reminder. It's something, you know, that obviously it's going to make his family feel ignored.
Yeah.
Feel forgotten, you know, and obviously, I know we're going to talk about it in a moment. The president really last night urging Congress to pass this as well, but really talking to Republicans because Democrats in the House have already passed it. So
yeah, that's true. If you think about it, these 3 families, separate families, there is enough power to say, hey, there's this huge gap between police and, of course, the black community and those of color. And there's things we need to do to protect us and to make sure moving forward these things don't continue to happen. So, yeah.
Now, while we're on the topic of President Joe Biden, Cori Bush, she has been very, very vocal on Twitter about her thoughts on the Justice for George Floyd Policing Act. So she put on Twitter, she said, let's be clear, this is not the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act if the Senate strips out qualified immunity. She actually added President Joe Biden, and she said, police must not be allowed to kill us with impunity. She said, let's work together to make that clear. I will not vote for it if ending qualified immunity comes out. And so, I mean, she has a whole bunch of more tweets on her page as well. I mean, so much, you know, is on this. And if you get a chance, go check out her Twitter page because she has a lot more to say about this also.
Yeah, Cori Bush absolutely wants all the smoke. I don't know about you guys, but when I was reading this story, I was, you know, wondering, you know, and wishing I was a fly on the wall when it came to the meeting that all of these family members took with Tim Scott. We're going to cover what his rebuttal to President Biden's speech was, and it was let's just go with interesting right now. Let's just say that he doesn't agree that America is a racist country, and he doesn't believe that any of these, you know, acts of police brutality and murder of black folks have been racially driven. So I really, really do kind of wonder what the conversation was like in that room. I don't know if you guys wondered the same thing.
No, I think we'll all find out at some point, that's for sure, hopefully.
Yeah. All right. Well, President Biden urged Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, highlighting not only one of the marquee issues that he campaigned on, but a topic that has been the forefront of national discussion since last year. Among other things, it does the following. It lowers the criminal intent standard from willing to knowing or reckless to convict a law enforcement officer of misconduct in federal prosecution. It limits qualified immunity as a defense to liability in a private civil action against a law enforcement officer or state correctional officer, and authorizes the Department of Justice to issue subpoenas in investigations of police departments for a pattern or practice of discrimination. The bill also creates a national registry, the National Police Misconduct Registry, to compile data on complaints and records of police misconduct.
We've all seen the knee of injustice on the neck of Black Americans. Now's our opportunity to make some real progress. The vast majority of men and women wearing a uniform and a badge serve our communities, and they serve them honorably. I know them. I know they want...
The knee of injustice on the neck of Black America. That's what Biden said during his first address to Congress, referencing the death of George Floyd, who was killed last May when an officer knelt on his neck for over 9 minutes.
Well, joining us now to discuss President Biden's address last night and give our Black Party response is Dr. Wes Bellamy, my brother, my man who inspires me in so many ways. Always out there running. How you doing today?
Brother, how are you? Thank you all so much for having me. I'm ecstatic to be here with our soulmates as usual.
Yeah, man, we love that. Now, what's your response to President Biden's address last night?
Well, I'm glad you asked. First and foremost, again, I want to thank you all for allowing us the opportunity to be able to discuss it. I want to be clear from our Black Party's perspective, and furthermore from the perspective of Black America, Joe Biden has written a check that he has yet to cash. We want to make no mistake about it. Without Black people, this administration would not be where it is right now. And up until this point, they have not delivered on their campaign promises or come through with the things in which they said that they would do. From a civil rights and criminal justice perspective, when you look at criminal justice transformation, they have not met the mark, this administration that is. There have been 5 notable and high-profile instances of police officers executing Black people under this administration. And we have yet to see any emergency orders of protection, no executive orders or federal legislation passed to protect Black people. And by the same notion, Congress, both the Senate and the House of Representatives, passed an anti-hate bill on behalf of the AAPI community in a very rapid fashion. Where's the same urgency for Black people? The same Black people that delivered the White House, this administration, but not only the Senate, the House, but also the presidency. We demand and we need more. From a COVID-19 perspective, the president has done an adequate job in our estimation. He's promised over 100 million COVID shots in 100 days. And I think it was an instance in which he wanted to under-promise and over-deliver, because to this point, there have been 220 million COVID-19 shots, at least one dose, in the arms of over 220 million individuals. 98% of Americans live within a 5-mile radius of a vaccination center. And as of April 26, 2021, the CDC reported that race ethnicity was known for just over half, or 55% of the people who had reserved at least one dose of the vaccine. Now, here's where we have an issue. Just as we've always seen, when the country catches a cold, Black people catch pneumonia. And in this particular instance, when the country is ravished by COVID-19, Black people, more than any others, die. Among the group of nearly 55% of individuals who we have data for, nearly 2/3 were white, 64% they've received vaccinations. 12% of those individuals were Hispanic who received vaccinations. But the leading group, the individuals who are dying, when it looks at proportionate matter rather, Black folk, we've only received 9% of the vaccinations. That there in itself has to change. As I alluded to earlier, when you look from a civil rights perspective, and as you all were discussing and describing earlier, the family of George Floyd and others met with members of Congress today, we want to be clear. To date, Congress, both the House and the Senate collectively as a whole, have yet to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. To date, the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill has not been passed by Congress and the Senate. And then to date, the Kristen Clark, the nominee for the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division, has yet to be confirmed. The Justice Department, to their credit, has actively opened investigations to intervene and investigate the police practices of the city of Minneapolis, Minnesota, as well as Louisville, Kentucky. But that's not enough. We need policy change, and we need it now. The urgency that we saw during the election, the urgency that we heard on the campaign trail, that energy needs to be met by this administration. Not later, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. President Biden, he promised us and he campaigned on being a negotiator. He campaigned on the fact that he would be able to reach across the aisle and get Republicans to do things and come over to his side and agree to do what was right for the nation. We have yet to see that. That needs to change. We want to hold him accountable, and we need more now. Now, lastly, and with this, from a racial equity perspective, the For the People Act has yet to be signed. The John Lewis Voting Rights Act has yet to be signed. The Institute of National Police Oversight Commission has been dropped. Biden's American Families Plan proposes a significant increase in the maximum Pell Grant award for students needing the most assistance for higher education. But we furthermore need him to do even more so in that regard. America, and specifically Black America, is looking to cash in on the promise that Biden made to us, and the promises rather that Biden made to us on the campaign trail. I'm consistently saying that because I want us all to be clear, and we deserve to get what was owed and promised to us. Now, in this American Families Plan, there is a proposal for a $30 billion subsidy of tuition for students who attend HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, for families earning to $125,000 annually. I think that's a start, but we need more to be done. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. From an economy perspective, unemployment has consistently come down under this administration. We want to applaud Biden for that. He has created more jobs in the first 100 days than any president in U.S. history. He deserves kudos for that. However, the unemployment rate for Black Americans improved slightly in March of 2021, but at 9.6%, is still higher than all of the race groups tracked by the national average of labor. By the National Labor Department. That is unacceptable. Again, for Black folk to deliver this administration a victory and for us to still have the highest numbers of unemployment, those two things do not add up, and we're still looking for more from this administration. I'm happy to take your questions, but I want to just end and conclude with this overall. The Biden administration owes us. We're not even going to discuss the ludicrous comments from Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, because my grandmother always told me, if you give a fool oxygen and you give a fool air, then you start arguing with him and you look like a fool as well. So I'm not going to argue and debate about a fool. My focus is on the Biden administration, the individual who is positioned of power. You made promises to the Black community. We are looking to cash in on that check.
Wow. Dr. Bellamy, I don't know about you guys, but I have a million questions after everything that you just said. You said some incredibly valid points, specifically about Tim Scott, which we're unfortunately going to be talking about later. I could practically see the strings on his shoulders. But just going back to Biden's speech, what would you rate his speech on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being just regurgitated rhetoric, and 5 being progressive and neoteric.
Well, I give him a 3.5. I think that he took more of an approach in which he wanted to speak to the middle America, the middle class of America, if you will. He wanted to deliver a message in which he wanted to show the power of America. He wanted to show that we are back. We're a strong nation when we work together. But I also want to be very clear. The United States of America has never been united. Black folk in America have never been treated with just due. And under this administration, we will not allow for that to continue. The day of reckoning has come, and we deserve what we have been promised, and we will get it come hell or high water.
Dr. Wes Bellamy, welcome back to the show. Friend to the show. It's almost like, welcome home. Yeah. I really want to ask you this because, one, you are very, Black Girl Magic, always shouting us out. You're a father. Shout out to your kid. Shout out to Stokely because I think she has one of the coolest names. So shout out to your baby. But what did you think last night as a father of daughters? What did you think about the historic moment? President Biden, saying, hey, I'm the first president in a space like this to ever be able to say, Madam Vice President. What did that mean to you, as a Black man?
Yeah. It was a tremendous accomplishment, and it was powerful for the nation as a whole. Specifically as a father of 4 daughters and a Black man, and when I look at my daughters in their eyes every morning, I was very proud that they were able to see an image of Vice President. I'm still confused with titles because she
has had a lot of them, right? It's all right.
Yeah. Vice President Harris and Madam Speaker Pelosi sitting behind the president, showing up in their power, showing up in their most authentic selves. But I still think there is an opportunity for us to do more. When we look at Vice President Harris, I'm hoping that one day she will ascend to the next position And my daughters can be even more proud when they see the first Black woman as a president in the United States of America.
Yeah, that was a powerful moment. Wes, how does your Our Black Party plan on holding the Biden administration accountable? I mean, you spoke of some things already, but what else do you really want to push through?
I'm glad you asked that. So this week we'll actually be unveiling a letter to the Biden administration. I've had some conversations earlier this week, but we'll be unveiling a letter to the Biden administration requesting a formal meeting to discuss a wide variety of policy initiatives and measures. Furthermore, in addition to that, we will be requesting an official Black town hall from the Biden administration in which he describes and discusses specifically his plans, initiatives, and what is in the American Families Plan that will be advantageous to Black folks. So again, two things: we'll be requesting a formal meeting as well as calling on the Biden administration to deliver a formal town hall specifically for Black folk. And I may get in a little bit of trouble for it, but I'm going to give you all an exclusive. Our Black Party, along with a few other civil rights organizations, we're going to be planning and conducting a new freedom ride throughout the South, in which we'll be going to Alabama, starting in Selma, Alabama, going to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, heading up to DC, advocating for the Fourth People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill. And we are going to be collaborating again with a wide variety of organizations. And our goal is to educate our people throughout the South, as well as drum up support, not only for the end of the filibuster, because I didn't even touch on that for a wide variety of different reasons, but Biden owes us an end to the filibuster, or at least an amendment, so that we can get the voting rights that we are that we deserve, but also educating our people on the importance of voter suppression and how we can combat it on a federal level.
So today marks 100 days, right? This is a big day. The president is able to, pat himself on the back because he got the massive COVID bill, got that done. Of course, there are a lot of things that people still want to happen, a lot of campaign promises that haven't come to fruition. Now we're on to the next 100 days. What are three things that you would like to see the Biden administration place their focus on?
Very simple. The passing of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. There needs to be the passing of the American Families Plan, and furthermore, an end to the filibuster so that we can truly get the For the People Act and the Voting Rights Act passed.
Well, so I want to ask you here, how do you think, how can our soulmates learn more, about Our Black Party?
Sure. So please be sure to join us, support us, look us up on all social media outlets at Our Black Party. We'll be unveiling our official review. Much of the information that I described earlier will be on that social media post that'll be on Instagram in about an hour. Furthermore, please make sure you join us and join our mailing list, www.ourblackparty.org. And more than anything else, make sure that you tap into your state directors. We have 11 state directors across the country, varying in states from as far south as Florida, as far north as Michigan, and as far west as Texas. We're looking for some California folks to come on and get on board. So I'm hoping one of y'all are going to be the state director. When y'all get some time, I know y'all are already swamped. But that's how you can tap in with us and join us. And we're looking for all the support. Remember, before you were a Republican, before you were a Democrat, before you're independent, you were Black. And there's nothing wrong with Black people owning our politics and centering the needs of our people. Doesn't matter who's in office. We need to get what we need to get when we need to get it, and that's now.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I feel like we're definitely going to have you back at some point very soon. So we'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks, Doctor.
All right. Justice Department officials plan to ask a grand jury to indict Derek Chauvin and the three other former police officers involved in George Floyd's death on charges of civil rights violations, according to the New York Post. This news comes along with word that the feds had plans to arrest Chauvin at the courthouse if he was found not guilty on all charges at his state trial last week, the Star Tribune reports. There was no need for the courthouse theatrics, as Chauvin was convicted of all three murder and manslaughter charges and faces 40 years in prison for the deadly arrest. With Chauvin's state trial over, the feds are seeking to charge the convicted killer and former Minneapolis cops J. Alexander Kang, Thomas Lane, and Tu Tao with new civil rights charges on top of the state's cases, according to the newspaper. So Attorney General Merrick Garland was extremely popping on Twitter the last couple of days, well, even the last week, because as you know, we even told you guys this a few days ago, he announced that investigation into the Louisville Police Department. So just to walk you guys down, how this all happened. So pretty much the Justice Department, they spent months gathering this information. And so, I just think that it's pretty powerful. I don't know about you guys to know that, worst case scenario, if he,
was
worst case scenario, he was still going to be arrested anyway. So I think that's pretty powerful. But also I like the fact that they were like, they felt like the publicity frenzy is the word that they used would disrupt the state's case. So they kind of held back. But they were like, we have this, just in case plan. So I like this. And just shout out also to Merrick Garland, because he's really been keeping his foot on everyone's neck. So, kudos to him as well.
Okay. All right.
Oh, we're moving right along. All right.
Let's do again. We don't have to. I didn't know that we had more time. I thought we were running out of time. That's my fault. But I just want to say, the reaction to people online essentially is that, like Demi said, they feel like A.G. Garland is on a complete roll.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That everything has kind of been on pause. And then I know you all talked about it already, but the Ahmaud Arbery, the three men who were already facing state charges, now facing federal civil rights charges. The Attorney General saying, hey, they violated his civil rights. They kidnapped him. That was a huge statement, and people cannot stop talking about that. And now here we see that this is possibly pending. Yeah. This is on the way. People are, excited about the actions of a man who could have been a Supreme Court justice.
Yes.
That's true.
A.G. Merrick Garland is not messing around, and we love to see it.